Let's be realistic. Alpine isn't becoming a frontrunner in 2026, but this year could quietly shape whether this team has a future at all. After years of instability, underperformance, and internal reshuffling, Alpine enters a new regulation cycle with Mercedes power, another potential management reset, and growing questions about Renault's long-term commitment to Formula One. There are reasons to expect improvement, and there are plenty of reasons to be skeptical. So with a new engine supplier, potential ownership changes looming, and continued uncertainty behind the scenes, what can we realistically expect from Alpine in 2026? A works manufacturer choosing to shut down its own power unit program and become a customer team is shocking and almost unheard of. But in Alpine's case, it's kind of understandable. Renault effectively failed in the turbo hybrid era. Starting on the back foot is one thing, never recovering is another. Even by the end of 2025, their power unit was still the slowest on the grid. Honda, for comparison, started off far worse than Renault did, and they still went on to win championships, even if it did take a few years. The last decade of evidence shows that Renault wasn't capable of building a modern F1 engine that is competitive, and that failure stems more from management than from engineering talent. With a new regulation cycle looming, there was little confidence that they could suddenly get it right. Alpine knew Mercedes would build a better power unit than they could. It's as simple as that. Becoming a customer was cheaper, safer, and more competitive in the short term. And really, that's what this decision is all about. For years, Renault has tried to win in Formula One while spending as little as possible. That approach doesn't work, and it's why they haven't won a championship since the 2010s with Red Bull. Everything that Renault has shown us leads us to believe that Alpine is really just a marketing exercise. Building an in-house power unit is massively expensive, and if they can save money while improving performance, the Mercedes deal does make sense. For Alpine's ultimate ceiling, though, it's absolutely a compromise. Flavio Briatore has confirmed that Christian Horner is in talks with investors to potentially purchase a stake in Alpine. Christian Horner isn't going to transform Alpine's results overnight, but his involvement could matter a lot in the long term. More specifically, he's inquiring about the portion already sold to the Atro Capital Investment Group. These rumors have been circulating for some time now, but this is the first official acknowledgement that discussions are actually happening. There were talks with Aston Martin that ended up going nowhere, so Alpine suddenly became the most realistic pathway back into the sport for him. However, looking ahead towards Horner's and Alpine's future, Horner is on gardening leave still from Red Bull until at least the spring. Even if a deal were agreed tomorrow, it would still be months before he could become actively involved. And there are big, unanswered, interesting questions that loom over this potential deal. Would Horner come in as team principal, CEO, or maybe both? The feeling has been that for Horner to come back to Formula One, it would have to be in an ownership capacity or near ownership role, not just another management position. He wants to have skin in the game. His position in Red Bull was powerful, but ultimately because he didn't have an ownership stake, he was just an employee. And because of that, they were able to sack him and move on from him. Renault has long looked like a manufacturer waiting for the right moment to sell its F1 team. Horner buying out Atro's stake could be the first step towards a full sale, or at least a gradual exit from Renault. Even if Horner does get involved though, the challenges wouldn't disappear overnight. Renault's past issues would still be there. For years, the manufacturer has limited Alpine's ability to operate like a true front-running F1 team. Any tangible performance gains driven by Horner would take time and likely wouldn't fully materialize until ownership structure changes entirely. If Horner does buy Atro's stake, Renault still has a majority control, and history shows that they aren't likely to give the race team everything it needs to succeed. That said though, Red Bull's success is proof that Horner knows how to build a championship-winning organization. His potential involvement makes Alpine's future more interesting, even if it doesn't dramatically change 2026. Before we get into my realistic expectations, where do you think Alpine is going to wind up in 2026? Do you think they made the right call by switching to Mercedes power units? Let me know down in the comments below. While you're there, give the video a like and hit that subscribe button. Now let's get back into the video. So what can we realistically expect from Alpine in 2026? Realistically, Alpine should be more competitive in 26 than they were in 25. They sacrificed virtually all of last season to focus on these new regulations. Mercedes is widely expected to have the best engine, and Alpine was coming from such a low baseline that improvement feels almost inevitable. As counterintuitive as it sounds, 2026 might end up justifying their decision to abandon work status. But let's be clear about the ceiling. Renault's lack of commitment, lack of ambition, and focus on profitability make it very difficult to believe Alpine will fight for wins, let alone podiums, on a regular basis. Management has shown time and time again that results matter less than cost control. It's ironic that they want to promote the Alpine brand as a high-performance car brand, and yet their ambitions to win in F1 are limited. Based on their performances, it's unclear who was inspired to buy a Renault or an Alpine road car. If Alpine is competitive and no longer dead last, 2026 will likely be considered a success by Briatore and Renault. Whether that should be acceptable by Formula One standards is another debate entirely. But for Renault, being solidly in the midfield while turning a profit may be the goal. So the future of Alpine remains cloudy as ever. In the short to medium term, performance should improve. Management may stabilize, and Christian Horner's involvement could reshape the team down the line. But until Renault fully commits or fully exits, Alpine will remain a team defined by potential, compromise, and unanswered questions.